So somebody had commented on a litter we had from Kit, her last litter, in fact her last 2 litters, her only 2 litters. In each case there's been a single pied dog in that litter. And they want to know, why is it possible that you've got 1 pied dog and the rest aren't pied? And the answer is it's completely possible and quite normal, and let's explain why. So, the pied gene is normally it can be written a number of different ways. One way you might write it is little s, as opposed to a non-pied dog would be big S, big S. Most time it's written as NS, with N means not pied and S means pied. So you can see that. So you can see a number of different conventions on how it's written. We're going to go with this NS business. We're going to say that a dog that doesn't carry pied is NN. A dog that is pied is SS. And a dog that's a pied carrier, this is the carrier. This is the pied. And this is the not pied. Right, so those are the 3 choices. And by the way, over here, if you wrote this as SN, it would be the same thing, right? So I don't want to get confused. I think there's 4 choices. The convention is that you put the recessive gene second and the majority gene first. Okay, so let's look at a Punnett square for these possibilities. So here's our Punnett square. And you put 1 parent on the top, 1 parent on the bottom. So let's start off with a Punnett square where both parents are pieds. They both have the pied gene, and they both hand out one of those genes to each puppy they produce. So we end up with an SS, an SS, an SS, and an SS. Guess what? 100% pied dogs. You put a pied dog with a pied dog, you get pied dogs every time. All right. Okay, now let's just change this. So this dog is a carrier of pied. What happens? We get 1/2 NS pied carriers and 1/2 SS pieds. See if you can read that on the screen. Quick look back here and see if that's visible. Oh yeah, that's visible. Good. Okay, so in that situation, a pied carrier with a pied, you get 1/2 pieds, 1/2 pied carriers. And look, remember, this is statistical in nature, so it doesn't mean you're going to get exactly that every time. But on average, if you did enough litters, you would. Okay, so now let's go with the situation where Kit was not a pied dog, but she did carry a copy of the gene. She was mated to Bjorn, who is also a pied carrier. What are we going to get? Well, S and N gives us that. S and N gives us that. And N gives us that. So what do we get? We get 1/4 pieds. We get 1/2 pied carriers. And we get 1/4 no pied gene at all. And guess what? In both litters, she had 1 out of 3 dogs that were pieds. Obviously in a litter of 3, you can't have 1/4 of a dog because you have to break one of its legs off. So we're actually within statistically exactly what you'd expect. It's amazing how well this works out. So there's your answer. If you're looking at a dog that's pied, you know that both parents at the very least had to have carried a copy of pied. If you've got a dog that doesn't apparently look pied, you don't know if there's a pied gene present. You could have 2 non-looking pied dogs and it could still be pied or carry the pied gene. And that's why testing is important, to find out exactly what you've got. And I mean, I like pied dogs. I think they're visually interesting. I prefer them over non-pied dogs. And you can control what you get from pied dogs. So a lot of people say, I don't want brindle, I don't want pied. I don't want brindle. And the reason I don't want brindle is because it's a dominant gene and it shows up and mucks up tan points. But pied you can completely control by the choice of who you're mating to. If you mate to a non-pied dog, you're not going to get any pied puppies, ever. And then let's just talk a little bit about pied for a moment, because pied is an interesting thing. So pied shows up different ways. When you see a dog that has a color that is white in a Frenchie or a pied dog, then you have to start thinking about pieds. Why? Well, first off, white true, absolutely snow white dog is not a French. You do not see that in French bulldogs. You don't get cream dogs that looked at, well, I gotta be careful. Typically, cream dogs don't look completely white. If they've got two copies of intensity, maybe that makes it look whiter. But typically, if you have a dog that's completely white, you need to be thinking about pied. Could that be a pied dog? And could it be what's called an extreme pied? And what is an extreme pied? An extreme pied is a dog that is predominantly white. There's a little bit of marking somewhere to show you that pied, but yeah, it may not be. I mean, it might be literally a spot behind his ear. So what do you do in these situations? You test and find out whether that dog's pied. And why does it matter? Because extreme pied dogs tend to be deaf. If they don't have any color on their head, if they've got a totally white head, there's a good possibility they'll be deaf or have bad hearing. And so you want to know about this because look, if you've got a dog that is an extreme pied, I wouldn't breed that dog back to another pied or pied carrier, and I'd try to avoid getting any extreme pied puppies. Okay. That is taking up way too much of your time. Let's just rattle out these last two questions. Demand for fluffies. Yeah, it's still great, but it's not like, we've got, what's going on here is COVID made the whole dog world upside down in terms of supply and demand. Lots of demand, less supply, lots of dogs were sought after, including fluffies. Prices on fluffies were very high. That whole thing has corrected itself. The whole COVID thing has been reset, and that has changed generally the market. So what you're seeing now is there's a lot of more fluffies out than there were, so you've got more supply, and you don't have an increased demand like you had when COVID was going on. So what's that done? What that's done is it means the prices have gone down. So, and that's definitely true. I mean, if you look at the price that fluffies were going for 2-3 years ago, they're probably a quarter of that now. So price gone. Does that mean there's no demand for fluffies? No, there's plenty of demand for fluffies. It's just that if you're in the market to buy a fluffy, then you're going to find that the price is quite a bit less than what you might have looked at a few years ago. If you bought a fluffy a few years ago and you were, looking forward to having a litter of puppies that is going to, be very valuable, well, there's still good money in it, but it's definitely not what it was a few years ago. So, all right. So there's the fluffies. Discharge after AI. Yes, absolutely. So, so this person had asked, why do some dogs have lots of discharge and some dogs don't have much discharge? Well, I don't think it's not necessarily anything to do with the AI. It's got to do with the heat. So some dogs, they show first signs, start blowing up their back end, have a huge vulva days before you see any signs of blood. And then it's like a murder scene. There's just blood all over the place. Big old drops of blood that look like, teacup-sized pieces of blood on the ground. Other dogs, and they can have what's called a silent heat. They don't bleed at all. Most dogs, you see some spots on the ground. And typically most dogs, you're going to see that if day one is first signs of blood, that by the time you've got to about day 3 through about day 8, there's quite a bit. And then around day 9 through day whatever, it starts to go pink. And 10, 11, it might be pinkish. And then it starts to go vanilla or clear in the back end of the heat. That's what you normally see, but it isn't always that case. Some dogs, blood all the way through. Some dogs can't hardly tell they're in heat, maybe just from their behavior. The AI should not make any difference to the blood that you see. Now, there are two things that will cause more of a discharge, and one is that semen you put in the dog dilutes the bloody kind of juices that are inside the dog, and some of that might drop out of the dog and consequently produce a kind of a reddish discharge. So you could get more of a discharge because you didn't do a very good job getting the semen to stay inside the dog. That'd be one. And then the other one, the one you've really got to watch out for, is pyometra. Pyometra in Latin means pus-filled bag. Doesn't even sound nice, and it's not. That's the one that gets your dog in trouble. There's two different kinds of pyometra, open and closed. Closed pyometra, none of the drainage of the mucky stuff comes out of the dog. The dog starts swelling up. Maybe the dog gets a temperature. The dog is lethargic. The dog's not happy. And if you've got that closed pyometria, that better be treated with antibiotics damn quickly. And if not, you may end up spaying that dog to save the dog's life. An open pyometria is a lot more common and is generally much easier to treat. Again, you treat that with antibiotics, and since there's a discharge going on and all the nastiness is coming out of the uterus, it tends to heal up much quicker. Anytime you have a dog whose temperature is at or equal to 103 degrees Fahrenheit, is a dog, after it's been bred, is a dog that you have to seriously consider that pyometria might be going on. And if your dog is not a happy dog, or whatever, take a temperature anyway. It's cheap, quick to do. Keep an eye on it, because if a temperature is getting up there, time to get some antibiotics on board quickly, not late. You can save those puppies in there, and you can save mum a lot of the time on an open pyometria. Closed pyometria, much more scary. There we go. Bye. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you got some good information out of it. I hope you subscribe to our channel. Brought to you by mybreedersupply.com. We've been in business for over 8 years. We manufacture products to help you have successful breedings, successful whelps, and successful puppies. We've introduced a new subscription service, canineconnect.com. It's a 1-year subscription for $129, and for that you get 2-day free shipping on all of your orders. You get 5% off every order that you place, and you get direct access to our support line to help you with products that you buy from us and general questions about breeding your dogs. It's really a great deal. I hope you subscribe to that. Now the disclaimer. I'm not a licensed veterinarian. I'm not a professional health giver, but I am a guy that's been breeding dogs successfully for over 20 years. Any information you get from my videos is purely at your own risk. If you have any doubts about any of this stuff, you should definitely seek the help of a licensed professional. Again, thanks for watching. Have fun with your doggies. Bye, buddy.